Hello, welcome to Glastonbury Grow Room number 45. Last week we had some really amazing, edgy folk acoustic on stage, but this week we're going to go a little bit more bassy for Mr. Matthew White on stage. Give it away.
Thank you very much. That was a cheesy medley. That Chedley, like it. That was a song called Tangled, and then there was a quote from a Yannick Wisdala song called American Elm. Incredible bass player. Definitely worth checking out his stuff if you can. Then finished with one of the songs from the Loudest in the Silence EP that I released in May called Faith in the Middle. Bear with me, technical difficulties, too many things. Thank you. So the next song I'm going to play is one of the first songs I wrote for bass called Nancy and George, and this one's dedicated to my maternal grandparents. Thank you very much. I'm going to do one more, and then Joy's going to ask me inappropriate questions, I expect. This next song is called Small Steps, and that last one was called Mother's Song, and that is, according to Spotify, a hit in Germany. So thank you, Dusseldorf. Thank you very much.
Matthew, come and join me on the couch of dreams. Coming. Yeah, quicker than that, please. Here you go. There's a mic here for you. Lovely. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
All right.
That was absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
I really thoroughly enjoyed that. I had no idea it was going to be so amazing.
Thank you very much. It's aside from a couple of open mic nights and jam nights that some friends and I host in the area.
Yeah.
It's not been performed live.
Oh, guys,
So
that's
this
the first off
is
for
it.
you guys.
Live debut.
Come on. Yes. So we'll start nice and easy. Just tell all of us a little bit about what inspired you to get into music and sort of how you started out with your music career.
Well, in terms of starting to play, I think the first thing I had was a mouth organ harmonica.
Nice.
That my granddad gave to me.
Oh.
And that came with me everywhere, in my pocket, picking out tunes by ear. And then I was like 4 or 5 years old at the time. And then from there, it was, you learn music at school and you have to go through the horrendous recorder groups and all of that.
Yeah, tell me about it.
And lo and behold, in my grandparents' house, in my mum's old room, there was a treble recorder rather than a Descant one.
Right.
So I decided to learn that instead.
Yeah.
And then I went to Ashcott Primary School, tiny school, only 12 kids in our year.
Wow.
And
That's amazing.
and that's after 2 people joined the school. So
Amazing.
less than 100 students in
Yeah.
the incredible school. And they had a selection of instruments, but only one of each. And the kid that had been playing trombone, of all things, left to go to secondary school, so I
Yeah.
played that.
Wow.
Took
I had
that
no idea.
up, put my mum through that pleasant
Experience,
time.
Yeah.
and then I played trombone throughout my teens. Got into Centre of Somerset Youth Jazz Orchestra.
Nice.
Which is an offshoot of the Strode Saturday Morning Music Club, or Centre of Somerset Music Club, Cosmic. Thank you.
Cosmic.
Which is an incredible organisation and the amazing opportunities that grants hundreds of children were second to none. But from that, then got asked to go and play with bands made up of tutors from
Right.
there as well, which was cool. And I think it's still on record that I'm the youngest person to have joined Cozy Joe at 10.
At 10.
At 10.
Winning.
So yeah,
Winning at 10.
something like that. And then sort of just discovered that I'm whether or not you can tell, not great at talking. So learned how to play guitar and
Right.
kind of just decided to start writing songs and bits and pieces in your bedroom, and then you play in school bands, and was very fortunate enough to have some incredibly talented musicians like Dan Paul, Richard Sleeman, Adam Daniels, and we formed an awful band playing terrible pop songs. And
That was college time, wasn't it? That was
that was before then. That was before
really?
then. Yeah, we were out gigging and sort of making money at 13, 14.
Oh, wow.
Hitting
know that.
hitting
That's
a hard time.
amazing.
Yeah, I paid my dues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it wasn't until college, I suppose, and I'd moved to bass guitar in that, but I was playing piano in that band.
Yeah, I remember you playing piano, actually.
And it wasn't until I played bass after a short stint on the drums that I got to college and people were asking around for bass players for music tech so that they could record, because everyone wants to be a guitarist, no one wants to be a bass player.
Yeah.
So I just discovered there's a little bit of an opportunity there to never have to pay for cigarettes when you can just I'll come and do that for a 20. Yeah, happy days. So that was that, and then sort of was introduced to artists like Primus, Victor Wooten, Marcus Miller.
Nice.
So really kind of took bass playing to another level.
Yeah.
Geddy Lee.
Started to really get into the bass then, started to really...
Yeah,
really
so
feel it.
up until then, you know, you had Flea and Tim Comerford from Rage Against the Machine and Audio Slave.
Right.
And that was the direction that I learnt to play in.
So
and
that
then-
was your sort of inspiration to
Yeah.
get into that, yeah?
Yeah, that was
Fantastic.
the oh, this is actually quite cool. This isn't just, you know,
Oh, it's very cool.
low slung at your knees with a plectrum. I'm sure someone, probably Dan or Dan's mum, has got photos of from early gigs that we did somewhere.
But yeah, should dig those out, I think. Somewhere.
Yeah, long hair.
Yeah.
And just kind of went into it. And then I suppose a couple of years ago, I ran across bass player Yannick Gwizdala, who I mentioned earlier. He does a lot of solo bass records, but not in the way that someone like Victor Wooten does, where he's playing it just on its own. He uses a lot of loops and a lot of electronic effects.
Cool.
Processes. So I was discovering that, and then discovering Steve. Oh, that's awful.
Steve.
Can't remember what his name is. It will come to me at some point.
Yeah.
Steve Lawson.
Steve Lawson.
A credible English bass player with a prolific output on Bandcamp, releases sort of 20 to 30 albums a year. Amazing ambient soundscapes.
Is that a similar sort of thing as well with the loop pedal?
Yeah,
and
again,
effects and
lots
stuff?
of loops,
Yeah.
lots of
So
interesting
also,
noises.
'cause a lot of people might not know that is obviously what you're using on stage.
Yes,
At the moment. You're
yes, I use a
looping.
Boss R330 and a Boss RC3.
Wow, I don't know what that is.
So, yeah, just
But
two
it's-
different loopers.
Yeah, and so obviously what you're doing is doing sort of small snippets and then looping it over and over and then
Yeah.
playing over the top of that.
Yeah, so it initially started off as just a practice exercise, something to solo over. I've always been very fortunate to be surrounded by incredible and inspiring musicians, some of whom are here tonight, some of whom couldn't make it in. But again, from playing with people like James Budden, who hosts along with me my open mic night in Sherborne.
Right.
The talent that he and Dave Wallace, who's an amazing drummer, bring, and so it comes to your turn to take a solo, and you just go,
Yeah.
I've got to play high stuff. How does that work?
Yeah.
So from there, it led to needing to develop solo chops.
Sure.
And then the limitations of having to do it within such a short space of time then started to breed more creativity, and you start going, oh, actually, there's something in this, there's a lick in here.
I mean, I think it's great, that the loop pedal and everything the way that you can sort of build it up, it's just sort of slowly gets more and more bigger and bigger, and by the end of it, it's just so beautiful. You just blissed out in this beautiful bass moment, which is it's really nice. Like for me, I don't know about many other people here, but you don't see it a lot. Yeah, everybody loves it, don't we? We all love it. Yeah, of course they do. No, we do, and it's you don't see that a lot. It's not something that you get to experience as someone just sort of on their own on stage with a bass guitar. It's like you said, everyone wants to be a guitarist.
Yeah,
Everyone
proper
wants to-
size things, Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
He can sing.
Yes.
He can sing a bit better than I can, though. So.
I wouldn't say that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like, also let's talk a little bit about what you use on stage. I mean, you've got a bass rig that's almost as big as me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, not far off.
Yeah.
So I use two Hark cabinets, a 2x10 and a 4x10 with an LH500 for the nerds. I've used Harker for the better part of 6-7 years.
Yeah.
I just liked I bought it because Victor Wooten uses it, because super fan.
Oh, he got roped in. He got roped in.
But the clarity of sound that it gives, I'm yet to find anything else. I've been fortunate to play through a lot of different amps over the years,
Yeah.
but that has always suited the way that I play
Yeah.
better.
So obviously, I mean, I heard a little bit about what's been going on for you this year as well. Obviously,
Yes.
you've had a lot
Busy.
a busy year, right? Yeah. So did you say 5? You've had 5 EPs
I've
out
released
this year.
5 EPs
5
this year.
EPs, Pete. Come on, that's pretty impressive. In 1 year, that's pretty damn
Yeah.
good. I mean, come on.
Apparently,
So-
it's really good stuff to do other things too. I've heard. So yeah, really
And
good for
like,
studying or housework.
Can can people listen to those? Are they all online?
Yes, they
available
are
online?
all available on Amazon Music, on Spotify, on iTunes, on Apple Music, on Pandora, Deezer, you name it, it's
Great.
there.
Well, there you go, guys. You can get hold of it anyway.
Bandcamp is always the place that I suggest people to go to because I control the prices there. So it's the cheapest place to buy it, if you wish to buy it.
Yeah, sure.
Buy it.
Buy it. So, like, obviously, like you said, Matt, you know, this is your solo thing. This is what you do for you and yourself. I know that you're involved in a lot of other projects as well. Like, we play together. I sing with you in a soul band.
In the Soul Agents.
Charlie Miller and the Soul Agents.
Big love.
So, you know, and have you got other things going on as well? Like, have you got other bands that you play with outside of doing your own thing?
Outside of this and Charlie, it tends to be whoever phones up and says, I need a bass player. The gig's in 3 hours.
Oh, are you that good, are you? Come along. Hey.
No, there's been times I was fortunate enough to do a stint with the Foo Fakers last year.
Oh wow, cool.
Who I believe are playing here shortly at some point soon.
Are
Correct
they
me
doing
if I'm
it, maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, we're getting a wavy hand.
Orcs.
Waving.
Yeah, along with those guys, there's a couple of blues trios and jazz quartets and bits and pieces that I play with. But again, there's no kind of fixed who's who. It's sort of a collection of people that just turn up and go. Yeah. Okay, let's play a gig.
And you did mention before you do your open mic night as well.
Yes.
You do an open mic night, and that's in Sherborne.
That's in Sherborne. That's in the Crown on the last Wednesday of every month.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
But I'm not there this month.
No. So then the last thing I sort of would really like to ask you about is your plans for the future with music and where you'd like to go with your music and everything else that you do as well, the other projects that you do. So how do you feel like you want to progress?
I'm well aware that what I'm playing tonight and what I write and release is never going to bother Simon Cowell.
I think that's probably a good thing, Matt. To be honest.
I'm you know, I get to see that people all over the world have access to it and listen to it, and I get a lot of feedback through Bandcamp and through SoundCloud, so that's two really great platforms that for me that have sort of encouraged me to keep going with it.
Good.
It's as far as playing wise, it's again, keep doing it as long as people need someone to come and hold the low end.
It's great, Matt.
Again, I'm quite happy to just stand at the back and cast a shadow on the rest of the stage.
As you do. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's brilliant what you're doing. I think it's great. You know, I think you should definitely keep it. Don't we all think you should keep this up? I mean, it's really beautiful music. It is.
Thank you.
And it's nice to see, you know, so it's nice to see someone do that all on their own and sort of bear themselves on a stage. And, you know, I know like a little bit about yourself and, you know, like I do, that we do it because we love it. You know, music is a part of our life, and it's really lovely to see you express that on stage.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about what we've got coming up in your second half?
The second half is just going to be more low end based, ambient solo bass work.
Oh, lovely.
Over loops.
Okay.
Yeah, stick around. It's going to
Yeah,
get really
definitely.
funky. It's not going to get funky.
Oh, but we all know you are very funky.
There is no slap bass. There is no pyrotechnics.
Nah. No, do you know what? It's so lovely to see the other side of you and what you do.
Thank you.
You know, I only sort of see one side of it, and I haven't ever seen this, and it's absolutely beautiful, Matt.
Thank you.
It's really
Thank you very much. Thank
you. Guys, give it up again for Matthew White.
Thank you.
And please continue for us, Matt.
This next one is they played on GFM last week. This one's called Better Than No One. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to put the horrible time signature ones next to each other. Someone appreciate it. Thank you. Nice to know that no one noticed the cutting out there. That didn't happen. So the last song I'm going to play, it was suggested that I do a cover, and I toyed with the idea for a long time, and other than the standards that have already been covered, I haven't heard anyone ever do a version of this. So let's see how fun this goes. Can you guess what it is yet? Later. That was your clue. Thank you very much for coming, everyone.
Absolutely incredible there. Oh my God, the skills of this man. Give it up for Matthew White. That was absolutely superb. And by the way, that was one of my favourite songs you played there at the end. Thank you very much. Beautiful, beautiful. And speaking of bass players, we do have the bass player of UKID sat right next to me. When's your grow room?
Hello. Hello, what?
When's your grow room?
Next year.
Right, okay, it's going to be next year. Tune in till next year. Okay, so next week got the imprints for Glastonbury Grow Room number 46. Come on down, join us. We've got great pizza night here on the King Arthur on Thursday night. And we've got all sorts of things. It's Carnival weekend this weekend. So go on to the Carnival, but then definitely come back down here where we've got in-house DJs playing some fat beats all night. And then the week after that, we've got the Frost Fair, which is going on in town. If you don't live in Glastonbury, it's a thing to come down for. There's loads of mulled cider, mulled wine. And again, come on down to the King Arthur afterwards. Who we've got playing for that night? Crystal Jacqueline. We got Gypsy Stage outside with Dave Sangaran, and we're our own mulled wine, which is probably going to be the best in town because it is the best pub in Glastonbury. Come on down to Bennet Street on the King Arthur and join us for next week on the Glastonbury Growing Room. Thank you very much. Check.